Imagine being a genius, a child prodigy, mastering 40 languages by the age of 8, giving lectures at Harvard by 11, and yet your life turns into a tragic tale of loneliness, rejection, and missed potential. This is the story of William Sidis, a man who had everything and nothing at the same time. His brilliance was undeniable, a force of nature, yet it became the very thing that isolated him from the world. Born in 1898, William Sidis was no ordinary child. His parents, both brilliant intellectuals themselves, were determined to raise the smartest person in the world. By the tender age of 6, he was already reading and writing fluently in English, Hebrew, Turkish, French, and several other languages. This wasn't just rote memorization. He truly understood the nuances of each tongue. By 8, he could speak and write in 40 languages, a feat that astounded everyone who encountered him. He was a walking encyclopedia, a living library of knowledge. But his brilliance wasn't just about languages. He understood complex mathematics with an intuitive grasp far beyond his years. He even invented his own language at a young age, a testament to his unique cognitive abilities. His parents, driven by their ambitious educational theories, pushed him relentlessly. They believed in an intensive, almost experimental approach to his upbringing. This constant intellectual stimulation undoubtedly fueled his prodigious mind, but it also set him on a path few could comprehend or endure. At 11, William passed an anatomy exam at Harvard, a university typically reserved for much older students. Soon after, he delivered a 2-hour lecture on a complicated topic in front of 70 scientists, captivating them with his profound insights. He was offered a place at Harvard, a dream for many, but they turned him down for one reason: emotional immaturity. Imagine a young genius rejected from an elite institution because he was deemed too smart, too young, too different. It's a level of rejection most of us can't even comprehend, a paradox of brilliance. This early setback hinted at the struggles he would face in a world unprepared for his unique mind. Soon, William found himself at Tufts University, not Harvard, a slight detour in his meteoric rise. But that didn't stop him. He went on to expose mistakes in textbooks, challenging established knowledge with his sharp intellect. He even dared to question Einstein's theories, a testament to his independent and critical thinking. He was compared to historical greats like Pascal and Gauss, minds that shaped human understanding. Yet, he was still a kid, barely a teenager, carrying the weight of immense expectations. The pressure to constantly perform, to always be the smartest, was unbearable, a burden that would eventually crush him. By his teenage years, William's genius was too much for the world to handle. His classmates, older students, and even professors couldn't cope with his overwhelming brilliance. He was an anomaly, an outsider, and this difference made him a target. They bullied him relentlessly, unable to reconcile his youth with his intellect. He was mocked, ridiculed, and alienated from his peers, a painful experience for any young person. Despite all his knowledge, all his understanding of the universe, he was profoundly alone. The world didn't understand him, and he, in turn, struggled to fit into its conventional molds. His genius became his prison, a gilded cage of intellect. He endured a life of ridicule and rejection that no one seemed to notice or care to address. He withdrew further from society, retreating into the shadows of his own mind, away from the harsh glare of the spotlight. This self-imposed exile was a desperate attempt to find peace. By 1919, William was done with it all. He had reached a breaking point, rejecting everything he had been taught, every expectation placed upon him. The horrors of the First World War, with its senseless violence and societal upheaval, pushed him towards socialism, a radical departure from his academic pursuits. His beliefs were so radical that during a protest, he was arrested for waving a red flag and supporting the Russian Revolution. This public display of defiance was a shock to those who knew him as a quiet scholar. The world saw him as a threat, a dangerous radical rather than a brilliant but troubled young man. But William? He didn't care about their judgment. This act of rebellion was his way of lashing out, of asserting his own identity against the suffocating expectations that had defined his life. It was a desperate cry for freedom, a rejection of the path laid out for him. After a series of psychiatric treatments, attempts to correct him, and constant pressure from his parents, William finally escaped the world he once tried to fit into. He withdrew completely, seeking anonymity and peace away from the public eye. He took a job as a lowly clerk, deliberately hiding his true brilliance. He was terrified that someone would discover the genius inside him again, that the spotlight would once more find him. He worked in silence, meticulously performing mundane tasks, a stark contrast to his earlier academic triumphs. He spent his nights writing books under various pseudonyms, exploring his vast interests without public scrutiny. He lived a life no one could truly understand, a deliberate choice to disappear into obscurity. This hidden existence was his sanctuary, a place where he could finally be free from the crushing weight of expectation and the pain of being misunderstood. He found solace in anonymity, a tragic end for such a brilliant mind. In 1944, after years of living in isolation, William Sidis died at the age of 46. A stroke ended his life quietly, far from the public acclaim he once received. When they found him, the only thing left of his tragic love was a photo of the one woman he had ever loved, Martha Foley, a poignant reminder of a life unfulfilled. His life, his genius, the brilliance that the world couldn't handle. He died with it all, his vast knowledge and unique perspectives lost to time. He was a comet that burned too brightly, too quickly, leaving behind a trail of unfulfilled potential and profound sadness. William Sidis, a miserable prodigy who never got the chance to be understood. So, what do we take away from his story? Being a genius doesn't always mean success or happiness. Sometimes it means profound isolation, a life lived on the fringes. Sometimes it means living in the shadow of expectations that no one could possibly understand, a burden too heavy to bear. William Sidis was a brilliant mind trapped in a world that couldn't see beyond his intelligence, a world that failed to nurture his emotional well-being. He was too much for this world, and perhaps too much for himself. His story forces us to consider the true cost of extraordinary talent when it's not met with understanding and acceptance. Do you think genius is a gift or a curse?